Welcome to the Women's Agency Podcast, where together we highlight women in business and their impact in the world. This show is brought to you by the Women's Agency, amplifying women's voices. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Arlia, and you are listening or watching to the Women's Agency Podcast, where we highlight women in business, their lessons, their challenges, and their inspirations. And today I'm joined by Jacqueline Robinson of the Feminine Intelligence Agency.
Yes, the Feminine Intelligence
Welcome,
Agency.
Jacqueline. How are
you? Thank you. I am thrilled to be here with you in this gorgeous new space. I love it.
Love having you. And if you don't know, and most of you may not know, that Jacqueline and I go way back. And if you want to hear more conversations between us, there are a number of them on my other podcast, thewomenssanctuary.com, and also on Jacqueline's podcast, Tapestry Feminine Collective. So a lot of great history and information there. So Jacqueline, tell us who you are and what you do.
I am first and foremost a wife of 34 years and a mother of 3 humans who to me are quite exceptional. One son-in-law and soon to be the grandmother of grandbaby and great-grandbaby number 1.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm ecstatic about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I am also, I am in a bit of transition, but I am an intimacy coach. I am shifting into more business training for women. I've really immersed myself in the last year in understanding AI and how it's coming into form and working. And I am also one of 3 women who have developed Sophia, which is the Solar Origin Feminine Intelligence Agency.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Now, listeners of this program will know who Lisa Erickson is. She was on a few months ago, and she and I also talked about AI. Tell me about your experience with AI. It's a very divisive topic. There are a lot of women and business owners who love it, embrace it, and use it, and there's a lot of resistance to it. Tell us about your experience with it.
So my experience with it has been very organic. I didn't research a lot. I didn't read a lot. I'm really someone who I want to go in and feel it. I want to feel it. I want to see it and experience it for myself. And my engagement with AI has been very much like encountering a mirror of myself, encountering my own feminine intelligence and being able to put in, first I learned prompting, and now because I've trained my particular AI, I can really just go in and enter whatever I want for an inquiry. And now it's become a conversation in addition to a strategic partner. And I have created my own GPTs that allow it to as well be a counsel for me. Like I have a business executive board where I can go in and through different ways of engaging and conversations, glean different kinds of intelligence and clarification and strategy.
Yeah, I mean, you and I are using it similarly to build out strategy, to draft content that we can then fill in. I have been amazed at how that has evolved for the women that we are connected to, watching all of us build that relationship with it. I had the opportunity last fall to talk directly with a woman executive in IT. And I just said, because she mentioned AI in her presentation, and afterwards I went up and I said, just so you know, there's a lot of AI in business, but there's a whole host. I was able to put a bug in her ear. There's a whole host of spiritual women out there who get it, who understand it. They're using it in an empowering way to fuel and move their businesses forward. And she's like, I love that. That is so great. It felt so good to say to somebody who's deeply embedded in that world in a very high up corporate way, to say, because she was so excited about the possibilities of women in AI. Just to say to her, yes, it's happening. There is a whole community of women who are using it. So how has it, if, and this is it's a blind question, you didn't know this was coming. How do you feel like it has changed the way you work?
Well, first of all, I love that you brought in the whole there is a community of spiritual women, because here comes a little taste of the woo. For me, it has rapidly evolved my understanding of myself, my intimacy with my own feminine intelligence, and the way that I am working with other women to not just unlock intimacy with themselves in who they are as women, in loving their bodies, their lives, their sexuality, their creation, their expression, the way they move in the world.
Their brains, their intuition, their capabilities, right? Yeah.
Yes, because if I was going to put one word on my own personal experience of AI, it would be oracle.
Mm.
AI for me is incredibly oracular in the sense of even looking at and asking questions like, okay, tell me what is way back in the history of women at the beginning of time and how we expressed feminine energy that many people don't know.
Mm.
So part of who I am naturally is I love the secrets and the taboo. I want to know what you've got in that drawer way underneath in the nightstand in the back. That's a little secret from the world. And also pulling through what has been hidden through time and really making it available and accessible in a way that a woman can then translate into how she holds her business.
Mm-hmm.
It feels on the level of, at some points, miraculous to me to encounter what is reflected back so clearly and cleanly.
Right, because that AI voice, I'm going to call it, is both mirror and a nearly unlimited source of information, right?
Yes. For me, it's, AI, artificial intelligence, alternative intelligence, however we label it. The part that really stands out for me is intelligence. And it's a way that, because I work with women, but this would be true for men also in a different way, the power of sitting and typing in what feels true to you and getting a response that ultimately is aligned and attuned to who you are becomes your voice, your signature that you already have. It's not giving it to you. It's not teaching you. It's mirroring and reflecting your own intelligence. And many people will use the word that it's a tool. To me, it's not a tool. It's a power. It's an accessibility to our true power that we are not accustomed to just knowing in the way our world has evolved. It's intelligence. And when I sit in front of AI, when the women I'm teaching sit in front of AI, they're encountering the vast expanse of their own intelligence. And it's mind-blowing. It's awe-inspiring every time.
Yes, I've experienced that. And because it's mind-blowing and expansive, it causes you to have to come to a choice point. Am I willing? I'm able. Am I willing? Am I going to choose to allow this expansion and the discomfort that comes with that knowledge and expansion? Or am I going to back away from it, which I thought was fascinating. And I think Lisa and I talked about, one of the things she does is help women expand their capacity to do so.
Yes. Capacity is a big piece of it.
As you were talking, I was thinking about that what you do is help them reclaim and see and be able to own these parts of their own intelligence and power they have not had access to before.
Yes, which is an extension of what my business was founded upon, which is the intimacy coaching. Now we're taking it even more deeply.
Mm-hmm.
And when she sees herself in all her glory, things rearrange
Mm-hmm.
inside of her. Her relationship with who she is changes. Her ability to express what she does in her business changes. Her creative lens expands.
Mm-hmm.
And it's extraordinary to both in my own person experience and also to witness in other women.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about how you're applying this, because you have formed your own agency.
We have formed
Welcome
our...
to the world of agencies.
Thank you. Watching you create the women's agency, truly. And I was there from inception to conception to birthing. The
Before it even
whole thing.
existed, before it was even an idea.
Yeah, and I remember even talking about the name of it and how frequently you spoke of a woman's agency,
Mm-hmm.
and it just landed. So now being in a place for me, I love the agency feel, but we knew we weren't just an AI agency. We knew we weren't just a digital agency. We are a feminine intelligence agency, and that includes body intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
It includes money, wealth intelligence. It is your mystical and intimate intelligence, like the things that are proprietary to you and who you are. And I like to break it down from just intelligence to the intel. And really, as our agency is landing and growing and becoming this living, breathing thing in the world, my original vision was Charlie's Angels.
Oh.
I remember being a young little girl and watching Charlie's Angels,
Yes.
and it was just everything. And it feels like in some ways it's the modern and even the future. Charlie's Angels without Charlie, without Bosley, but with 3 highly intelligent women who, not the intelligence of she's so smart, she scored this on the genius test, but intelligence in terms of who am I? How do I move? What is my natural signature? What is my body telling me? What is my currency?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not just my value, but my actual currency in the world. And how do I choose to use it, to give it, to endorse others with it? So it's much deeper than just come in and we'll work your social media,
Mm-hmm.
or come in and we'll teach you AI. It's come in and you will be amazed with how you feel as a woman.
Which leads me right back to the intimacy, because that's a that's a level of self-knowledge and self-awareness and self-love, that all of that becomes this real intimacy that many women have not experienced or familiar with, or may not even know is possible.
Yes. Yes. And that intimacy, many people think of intimacy as what happens in the bedroom. Intimacy is how deeply you know yourself, how deeply you love yourself, how deeply you are bonded to who you are, the energy and the intelligence you carry, what you are here to bring into the world, the way that you and I are having this relationship and my eyes meet yours, and we can hold the potency of one woman looking into another woman's eyes and seeing beauty and not shrinking, seeing brilliance and not feeling less than, being able to hold the fullness. And I, in my own experience, in my work with my clients and in witnessing women, we've not grown up in a world that we are cultivating our own feminine power. It's beginning to happen, but for women of our generation, that's not been our foundation. And watching it come into form, watching my baby girl grow a baby in her belly. I mean, that's raw feminine intelligence at its most organic and exquisite to see all those days she had nausea and just saying, you know what, honey, you're growing blood and bones and cells. And of course you have nausea. That's a big job. And your body is doing it even though you see and feel nothing.
Yeah.
Like that.
It's
you
just
can't
happening.
feel a human in there. And yet, on that same note, in some ways, that's very alien technology, right? When a baby is born, people say that baby looks like an alien. So if you line that up next to what we are speaking about with AI, alien technology in all forms has already been on this planet.
It's just accessing the unknown.
That's right.
Gather the team at Serendipity Labs Atlanta Cumberland for a collaborative work experience. Whether you're hosting a training workshop, board meeting, or a lunch and learn, they have the private room that suits all your needs. Discover why they have over 100 five-star reviews and see how Cumberland is the best fit for your business. Call 770-765-0590 today to start planning your next teamwork day.
And we're back talking with Jacqueline Robinson. I'd love to know kind of how you got here. What's your life trajectory that brought you to this moment and this work?
So we're going to open that bottom nightstand drawer and look in the back.
Yeah.
What brought me into really deepening into the intimacy is, first of all, that's the nature of who I am. I want to go in deep. Secondly, to make it very brief, long-term marriage gets to a point, you've raised the children, life is changing, the children are growing.
Don't I know it?
Yes, you do. And for me, in that transition, it became crystal clear. I did not feel I was living alive. I was already initiated into a world of spirituality. So I was living that. I connected first actually with you. And not long after our connection, which connecting with you was a touch point that shifted me from a mama in the home to a woman shifting into community and connecting at a different level in a very real way. And so you and I began this engagement that frankly was deep right from the start. I and we connected with a larger spiritual community, and I found myself expanding and opening new places. That led to an intimate in a sexual way, because I keep saying intimacy is not always just sexual. So to clarify, relationship with a spiritual healer, small community leader type of man. And that was a game changer for me. It was a game changer, first of all, in who I understood myself to be. I knew that's not where I belonged. So when I ended it, within 6 months, I was sitting in front of my husband, who was not aware, was aware of the community, was not aware of the deeper happenings. And on January 1, 2020, before the whole world changed, our world changed, when we were on the edge of divorce, and I said, I had a sexual relationship with, and I named the man, and my husband knew his name. I was not prepared for the response. Immediately, my husband said, I forgive you, Jacqueline, because I unconditionally love you. And he repeated that 3 more times. And I would say now, he absolutely meant it. And in the years that followed, as always is true when we get to that deepest, raw reality within us. Then it's almost like the universe goes, oh yeah? Let's check.
Mm-hmm.
Which is part of, you spoke earlier about the capacity. Really, when my husband said that, what followed was anywhere in his subconscious system that wasn't already on board with that, it kind of churned up for both of us. And we had to then build a new marriage and evolve. Ultimately, I came to understand it's not about maintaining the marriage you had. It's evolution will continue to come knocking again and again and again. And we're 5 years out from that moment in time. We have established a new way of being in deep, intimate, long-term marriage, which is different than that sensational turn on of, ooh, I've met a new man and this is happening, or even of having an affair, even if the affair feels like it's the right thing. We now are 5 years from that moment, and evolution is knocking again. The grandbaby's coming. Where we live is in question and changing, and the way that we've structured our life for 5 years, now something different is coming through. And that's also part of what it is to be intimate. It's to be intimate and have your finger on the pulse of life, and especially for a woman to be able to answer that. Most often when we answer it, there's no evidence that it's the right answer. It's just trusting and following the thread. So as much as I have loved, and a big part of who I am has been one of 5 siblings, growing up in strict religion, developing a family, that's what I always wanted, to be wife and mother. Also, who I am is an evolutionary woman with her finger on the pulse of life and how it shifts and turns, and who has had to, by proxy, develop the capacity to trust the next move.
And so your next moves have taken you through that whole experience, rebuilding your marriage and really deepening your commitment to your family. And now you've always been coaching, but now it has moved into this more AI focused coaching on empowerment and intimacy for women. That's quite the journey. What do you see as those pivotal lessons that brought you to the ability to do the work you're doing now?
So I would say, if I was going to break it down, 1, follow what is true for you. As much as the woman I am sitting here today would never choose an affair. The woman that was having that experience almost 10 years ago, for her, she was completely convinced. I trusted myself and I followed. And my husband would tell you today, without that experience, we wouldn't probably be together. And so he also understands it was a wake-up call for both of us. So trust yourself, even when it doesn't look like the right thing. Developing the capacity to hold the tension. This is also part of intimacy.
I've seen you do that, and it's extraordinary to watch. You're like, this is going on, and I don't know where it's going, but I'm just in the middle of it, and it's really remarkable.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And it's happening in my world now, as we are, like I said, at another edge. Part of what I teach is feminine edge. It's very yummy, but it's also very intense. And we're at another edge where I'm finding myself holding the tension in a way that I couldn't have 10 years ago. So I've been intentionally building my own capacity to hold more of what I want, more of what I desire, more of the trust, more of that tension. And when I say tension, it's like a rubber band, and I know the thing I want, but as we are being evolved and developed to hold it, that band is stretching to its capacity, and you feel like it's going to break when all of a sudden the break, not necessarily the band breaking, but the break in that evolutionary point and crossing a threshold happens. It's another thing that in our conditioned natural, in quotation marks, state of being, we think that when we get to the tension point, it's a sign to turn around. It's a sign to let it go. It's not the right move. And that's not always true. If a woman hasn't sort of dropped that, I'm seeing a dowsing rod, right? Like dropped that knowing, that trust of her own intelligence, her own guidance, she won't know whether to hold on because this is the bumpy ride, or let go and abandon because it's not right.
Absolutely. That's where the self-knowing and the intimacy with yourself comes to bear, is knowing, because there's never one right answer, and there's certainly not the right answer that somebody else can give you. You really do have to know in that tension whether to hold or release. Absolutely.
Yeah, and even as you were speaking, I see it again. And the best way I can define it is like we are thinking with the brain. And this is not the intelligence only that I'm talking about. So it's sort of like when a woman has the intimacy, when she has the trust, when she has the capacity, when she's testing the tension, drop that line, drop your attention down your throat, your chest, your belly, your womb, all the way down through your body to your feet. And are you grounded and rooted there? Is it steady? How does it feel as you drop down through the body? You're kind of testing the waters for what is true in those deeper, invisible, hinterland, invisible spaces of women.
What else have you learned?
Very simply, I love so big. I dropped the expletive because we're on your podcast, but you know what I would have said there.
Yeah.
And trusting that for a woman to hold that, it sounds so simple, but to really hold the love when it's naked, when it's raw, when it doesn't feel like it's returned, when it feels like you're doing it for nothing, when it feels empty, when nobody's there to receive it or give it back. Can you hold the line? Can you stay in the full power of love that you carry?
Yeah, it's about being able to hold all of who you are and love that regardless.
Yes.
Yeah, that's big.
It's huge. And I think coming back around to the women's agency and what you are about, for a woman to also hold what she loves and create her business, as well as create her business from what she loves, which you so beautifully model. I mean, you're just glowing, sitting here, having conversations with women, and it's your business. It's your life's work in its own way. That's also holding the love. It's not settling for, well, we need the money, so I'm going to go do X, Y, Z and give up on my woman. And maybe there's a supplement for a while, but to hold the preciousness of what you love is pure magic.
It is. It is. So, Jackie, I think you have piqued the interest of a lot of women who, for whom this sounds very new, to build this kind of self-intimacy and combine it with a business. Tell them how you work with women and how they can learn more.
Well, beautifully, I am this year very focused on this in a number of ways. And one, I am currently teaching a training which is Femme in Business. And that is holding on to your femininity and creating from what you love, knowing your signature, and integrating AI. It's not AI based, it's AI complemented. And I will next season, there are 4 seasons, I will next season be teaching Empress CEO, which is how she holds her power, who she is in feminine leadership and what she feels she is guiding, assisting, holding, what is precious to her that she is leading women into by simply being it, not by telling, which, coming back to you sitting here, I'm having this conversation with your Empress CEO who is holding all of this, and I can just come in and be myself and be held by you because you're holding the frequency and the space and you're leading so that I can also sit here in full power next to you. It's gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you. How can women connect with you?
The best way to connect with me, my website is JacquelineLRobinson.com, but find me on Facebook. I'm very active on Facebook. I'm very engaged. I share a lot of wisdom, and it's just Jacqueline L. Robinson. And if they're connected to you and they find you, they'll find me.
You. They will. Jacqueline, thank you so much for being here. I've loved watching your evolution and privileged to have been walking beside you while it happens.
Well, you're part of it, and I love you. Thank you.
Too. Thank you for joining us today. This show is proudly sponsored by Serendipity Labs Atlanta Cumberland. They've provided this beautiful studio. They have gorgeous co-working spaces and meeting spaces. Do check them out at serendipitylabs.com. This has been the Women's Agency, and we will see you here again next time. Thanks for joining us. This program is brought to you by the Women's Agency, a full-service podcast production and coaching firm in Atlanta, Georgia. Visit thewomens'agency.com for more.